I'm not going to get into too much on that, but
okay.
he has suffered terribly, and he still is today, and I'm not sure he'll ever get over it. And, I have seen Reverend Sharpton's comments to that, and it's always, I think it is, I can't remember her name, a reporter, was it Leslie, is it Leslie Gunn or Leslie, I can't think of her name, but she sat him down and she said, but you did say this, sir. You did say this, Mr. Sharpton. You did say this. And he goes, but there's still that little thing inside of me that says, it's possible he did it. Because I don't know he didn't do it. Well, Mr. Sharpton, I'm going to stand here today and I'm going to say to you, where was your butt when I was forced by the courts to do a freaking concert and I had a police boycott against me to help your daddy? Where were you? Where were you when Adrienne Brown got her teeth knocked out 4 separate times and you're running all over the country to all these things where people are getting hurt? Why weren't you taking care of business at home? Where were you when I got raped? Where were you? Why didn't you open your mouth when I accused your daddy of raping me? Why did you sit back through that? You didn't open your mouth. And now here we're dealing with a trust worth hundreds of millions of dollars that involves your so-called daddy who left you out of the will. Why aren't you stepping in that? I have some big questions for this man, and I don't think he can really answer them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really puts him on the spot and makes him answer anything. I think he pretty much has a free ride. Okay, we're joined by Christian Wallace, who's also going to be a host coming up on CJ Mars Radio. Chris, you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, how are you guys doing?
What night are you starting over there?
Wednesday nights at 9. How's my mic, by the way?
You sound good. A little deep and a little sexy there, man. I don't know if I can stand this. Okay.
He does. He has a radio voice.
Yeah, right. Oh, I tell you.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, man.
Oh, it's just really interesting stuff. And James Brown, boy, such a huge icon, American icon. And I think he was 60 years that he was performing, pretty much.
He was performing, actually, when he was 70, yeah.
Yeah, and all of the stuff that you were talking about, and then with the movie just coming out, and I think it was really interesting. And, with the PCP, the thing is that it's very, people, always talk about how they think that they can fly and, they jump off of buildings
yes.
and things in the trees. He was saying we're rubber and they would bend. Well, it's kind of the sensation, or what happens is that you feel like, your spatial awareness is off. And, that's just, I think, speaks to the madness, or the I don't know what the word would be, but he was definitely not himself. But at the same time, I was just running it down on Wikipedia, and I was looking at some of his drug policy with his band, and they were saying how he was supposedly very anti-drug and had like a zero tolerance policy.
Yes,
right.
Fire them and find them.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Was he maybe being hypocritical, or did he have a relapse? Did he, was he using at the beginning, or did he get into drugs and it got heavier as he got older?
Like I was saying in the beginning, when I met him, he was 100% lucid. And this formaldehyde, I've never even heard of anybody smoking formaldehyde along with PCP, but it became a very serious thing, and he was lacing cigarettes with it. They would actually take the cigarette tobacco out, and how I knew about this was Adrienne Brown showed me, and they were pouring the liquid onto the cigarette stuff and packing it back, and then just smoking it. And what I learned about this was he was actually putting it in lotion and in Afrin bottles and marking the Afrin bottles with dots because he would snort it through Afrin bottles, and he was putting it in cream. And PCP is odorless, and it's colorless, and it's liquid, and it can go into anything. And an innocent person could be drugged without even knowing it.
Right. I just, getting back to, and it was such a emotional, story, and the way that you told it. I work in a drug treatment facility, so I counsel and I help people, and I understand, and a lot of people, that's not a drug that many people come in with issues with, but it's definitely really serious, and you got to be really out of control, when you're on it. So I don't doubt that he was, crashing into, his car into trees and frothing at the mouth. Yeah, it must
horrible.
have been out of this world.
I had a guy that worked for me. His name was Pete the Nut, we used to call him. Okay, and he was they locked him up in South Beach Psychiatric Center in the suicidal ward. Okay, and I went in there to visit him and bring him some stuff, bring him some sodas and snacks and things like that, and go in there and pray with him. And the doctor in there told me, he says, you look around, you see this room? He says, half of these guys were on PCP, and it drove him crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying don't go see the movie. I think you should see the movie. I think it is, if you don't know James Brown, and very few people knew him personally, I think it's a very good movie to see. It's definitely not a PG-13 movie. There isn't any really sex or violence in it, so I don't know how it got that rating. It's more like a Walt Disney movie.
It turns out the director directed that movie, The Help, about the maids.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay, and there's another one too. My producer was telling me about. There was a really big movie too.
He's had a lot of big ones.
Yeah, Winter's Bone. So yes, it should be a really good director.
Yes, you need to see the movie, but you just won't see and really see the truth. You won't see maybe they chose, they don't want the world knowing. They don't want his legacy, few people know the real inside. It's just very sad.
So like,
after this,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
After the success of, the Ray Charles movie, I think it kind of, that was what they were maybe trying to follow up with, and sort of along the lines of that, and all of the acclaim that movie got. And, even that movie left out a lot, and that maybe wasn't a very flattering, and, there was a lot of issues with afterwards with the will, and some of the, people that were left out, and where some of the money went.
I loved the Ray Charles movie. I saw it, and I had actually met Ray Charles. And one of the things that I really loved about the Ray Charles movie is they just didn't sugarcoat it. They brought out the heroin use for years, and they showed how it afflicted him. And like you say, you worked in a treatment center, and this is what the young kids, this was one of Mr. Brown's big things, like you were talking about, was to kids, was don't do drugs, don't drop out of school, and here he was himself battling some very, very horrible demons that were really destroying people's lives.
Let me ask you a question. Now Howard Stern, he's a huge James Brown fan. Have you ever thought of contacting him and trying to get on his show and telling your story?
You asked me that the other day, and I've always wanted to get on the Howard Stern show, and I've never gotten to get on the Howard Stern show.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't just pick up the phone and call Howard Stern and go, "Hey, talk to me." No, I wouldn't do it.
Well, okay, maybe I can help you get on there. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, yeah, get me on the Howard Stern show.
Yeah. Hey, we'll both go on. I need to get on there again. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about, have you, next week I'm doing a show, right? And it's about Robert Evans, the producer of The Godfather and all that kind of stuff, and he was producing that movie, The Cotton Club. And in that, you're familiar with that story about the guy Roy Radin, who got murdered?
No, I when you brought it up, I think when I was looking on your thing, I read just a couple of snippets of it, and I really don't know that much about it, so I'd probably be, if you asked me anything, not able to answer your question, to be honest with you.
Okay, because Roy Radin used to do like this old-time vaudeville tour, and he had a lot of guys. I was just wondering if James Brown was ever involved in being produced by Roy Radin. I guess no, huh?
Couldn't answer that question. That one's way over my head.
Gotcha.
I can only answer stuff that I lived, and if I wasn't a part of it, then I can't answer it.
Well, then who else did you meet besides like Ray Charles and Michael Jackson?
I've met them all. I've met them all. I mean, I've heard. I mean, when you're in this business, you meet people, and you don't even know you're going to meet them. I'm still doing music. I just finished the theme song for Find Me Too, for missing and murdered kids. And I've done 2 musical things for the circus, which everybody knows is very close and dear to my heart, and the elephants and saving the Asian elephants. And I am known to play with the elephants and the camels and travel with the circus. Yeah. I am a kaleidoscope.
Wait a minute. You also
yes.
you traveled with a circus before James Brown?
No, I've always been around and affiliated with the circus. I just finished doing 2 songs for the Carson and Barnes Circus, and if you Google me, you can see the video of me with the elephants, and you can see one of my songs and stuff like that.
What are you doing with the elephants? Like elephant tricks?
No, I'm actually talking about the elephants that are going to be, that my song is raising money for across the United States, and it's to protect the Asian elephant. And I love the circus, and, PETA is always out after us because they're saying we're abusing the animals, but in all honesty, they're very loved and they're very pampered, and I wish I could live as an elephant under these people because they're really loved.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, because you do hear all the stories about the animal rights activists always complaining about the elephants at the circus. So now,
yes.
Do you actually travel with the circus from town to town?
Yes, I've done it. Yes, I do their PR, and I also was a part of my song that is "I Am the Circus," and it is sung by a little trapeze performer, and I produced it and wrote it on her. And it talks about the hard life of the circus, and it's in the show. And this year I just did the grand opening called the Big Top Ragtime Circus Ball. And it's out on the road right now, and I had to come off to endure the James Brown saga again. I mean, it's like every time I get my life to a point where, I've got the court case down there and it goes on, and it's been going on for 9 years, but I start to live my life, and I start to get back in to the groove of a life without the horror. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later with the whispers of the movie, and then, of course, the months of the movie, and then, of course, no one is talked to, and then you wonder, are they going to show the rape? Are they going to show the insane 88 years? And then you start finding out that all the people that are on the daughter's side are involved in the movie, and the people that want the truth out are not involved in the movie. So you pretty much hold your breath like I did, and I was very blessed that people that worked, my counselors and stuff, didn't want me going to the movie. And
yeah, you told me.
and someone made sure that I got a free seat in a empty room to watch it, and it was difficult. Even today, I keep having these little flashes of some facial features that Chadwick Bronson did with up close of his face and